Welcome back to Wake Up Call. Now I'm here with Stephen Rottinghouse, the career coordinator at the J School. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, Keely.
Thank you for joining us. So right now some people are still applying, some people are going through the interview process, and some people have their internships already lined up. So first, can you tell us what to do in the application process to stick out to employers?
Yeah, I mean, now definitely is a good time for summer internship. A lot of the more competitive ones, those deadlines, I mean, they started advertising those jobs like last fall. But to stand out to employers, I mean, you definitely want to talk about the experience you've had on campus. I mean, in the classroom and outside the classroom. Employers love to see that real-world experience, and that's where internships are very important. Because employers I talk to, anytime they see that real-world experience, mainly in the form of an internship, that's what they like to see. So again, to stand out, I mean, highlight your campus involvement, any sort of media work you've had, I mean, especially for J School students, and then even for the non-J School students, just kind of that outside activity that's connected to your major looks very powerful on a resume.
Okay, so generally I've been noticing we're getting phone interviews after you make it through the application process. So how do you wow a phone interview without being able to shake someone's hand and look into their eyes?
Phone interview, I mean, it's very comparable to kind of that face-to-face, but you're right. I mean, nothing is going to beat that face-to-face, that interaction where they can kind of pick up on your body language and your excitement about the job. But I mean, treat a phone interview just like you would a face-to-face. A lot of times I encourage students, to stand up when they're in a phone interview. Just it helps with the voice projection. But again, you kind of want to have those key talking points. Like, you always want to have kind of that 30-second, 1-minute wow speech. Like, okay, this is why I want the job, and you can communicate that in a phone interview just as well as a face-to-face. But again, have that outline prepared. It's okay to have that internship description, next to you when you're being interviewed on the phone, so you can really focus on that job description and tie your skills to that job description. That helps a lot, because that basically is the outline for the interview.
Okay, and so it seems whether it's in person or on the phone, it seems we always get the question, what are your weaknesses? So how would you suggest that students respond to that question?
In regard to that question, I admit that is always a tough one to answer. Try not to use the word weakness when you do respond to that. I mean, don't say, my weakness is. Really what you want to say is, I'm developing skills in this area. That's a lot more effective than say, my weakness is. The last thing you want to say is, I don't show up on time, I've got a bad attitude. You can't really recover from that.
Yeah.
I mean, really what they're looking for is something that you're self-aware of, that, yeah, I know I need to work on developing this technical skill or something like that. And then just talk about the steps you are taking to improve your skills in that area, because that'll impress them more just saying, oh, I'm not very good at this, this, and this. It's kind of hard to recover from that. But if you kind of spin it and say, yeah, I need to be aware or enhance my technical skills in Premiere, InDesign, something like that, and that you're taking steps to improve that's a great way to answer that question.
Okay, so now let's move on to after the interview. We've hung up the phone, we've left the office. How do you follow up with your future employer, the person who interviewed you?
You definitely want to follow up within a day or two. An email thank you is perfectly fine. I still a big believer in that old-fashioned thank you card. It can be short and sweet. Basically, just thank them for the time they took to interview you. And if they need any more information, please contact me at this email or this phone number. But yeah, it's very important to keep that dialogue going. A thank you note is still extremely powerful in that interview setting.
Okay, so let's say we got the job, we're ready to start. So how can we get the most out of our summer internships?
I mean, treat it like you would a full-time job. I mean, be professional, show up on time. I think the best internship experiences work out if you have that true mentor on site. Not every organization can provide you with a mentor, but there's usually somebody on board at the company that will definitely assist you in any way. It's perfectly fine to have questions. I mean, definitely at the beginning. I mean, you don't want to be asking questions day after day after day. But early on, just get familiar with the process, what your roles are, what your goals are. That'll help kind of keep you focused for the entire internship. Because yeah, internship, especially for the summer season, we're talking 6 weeks from now. It'll be started, and then it typically goes till mid-August, right before the fall semester begins. But yeah, try to outline some goals, like skills you want to develop, what projects you really want to focus on. And I think another great thing about an internship is, hopefully it's always a positive experience. I mean, the students I've worked with in 4 years, I think I've only had one case where it wasn't a good fit, but they were able to find another internship opportunity, and it worked out. But another great benefit about going to an internship is like, is this really for me? Is this really the career I want?
Yeah.
And then you can kind of shift gears, before you actually graduate or early in your career where it doesn't feel like you've taken a step back or anything.
Okay, great. Well, are there any other tips and tricks that you'd like to add?
Again, really go into that internship with a positive attitude. it looks great on a resume. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, that's what employers are looking for, that real world experience, and nothing beats that quality internship. And it doesn't matter where you have it, you know, if it's local, Kansas City area, East Coast, West Coast. Every internship looks great on that resume. So yeah, again, just be positive, be professional, and everything should work out.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be right back after this break. All right, now time for Malik. What time is it?
Week in review. When we start off with the sad story, rapper Nipsey Hussle was gunned down and killed outside of his own store in Los Angeles. Police have caught the suspect believed to be responsible for the crime. Celebrities from Beyonce to LeBron James and millions of more fans have sent their condolences. The suspect in the case has been caught and is currently in a southern Los Angeles jail. But we send our condolences to their family and to his kids that he left behind.
And his fans. I know he's really made a difference out there. So, yeah. Moving along, Lori Lightfoot is set to become the first African-American woman and openly gay mayor of Chicago. She'll take over for Rahm Emanuel after winning in a landslide.
Congrats to her, making waves.
In Chicago, my hometown.
45 minutes.
Okay. All right, now hundreds of people in Budapest, Hungary took to the streets to partake in a silly walk parade on April Fool's Day. Organizers explained that this was put together to allow people to forget about their daily problems. The idea was inspired by Monty Python when actor John Cleese walked in strange ways to the Ministry of Silly Walks. And look at that video. I mean, when I saw that, I was like, what are they doing? They're just walking, like, very strange.
Very strange indeed. And what was the purpose for that again?
Just to forget about their daily problems. I mean, there's other ways you can let it go.
Yeah, than to walk around the city like that.
Yeah.
Interesting philosophy.
Very, very interesting. All right, well, coming up after the break, we'll be back with some I Come Bearing Good News, plus special TikTok video that Malik and I have made for you. So we'll be right back.
Good news. We all know the struggles that go along with being a high schooler.
That's right, we do. The stressors of popularity, ACT scores, sports, work, it can be a hard time. But once again, this story proves that a little act of kindness can go a long way. A few students at a Tennessee high school noticed that one of their peers seemed a little down recently. They decided to speak with the teacher to come up with a gesture to cheer up the classmate, Azriel Robinson. They collected a brand new pair of shoes, new clothes, and some money to give to Robinson. The young boy was very touched by this gesture, and so was his mother. His mother explained that he was bullied at his old school, so a gesture like this really went a long way. And we just love to see that over here at Wake Up Call, and that's a precious video. You can obviously see that the young kid is very touched by this gesture, so it's very sweet.
Good story. What's up with your snaps today?
I don't know. I've been snapping a lot instead of clapping for things. I don't know.
Interesting.
The golfer in me. Golfers snap, right?
So the next story, I'll let Keely read it because this was a forced thing.
Oh, forced. Malik was all about this. We're going to talk about TikTok and the epidemic of, you guessed it, the woe. I had no idea what this was, honestly, when I started seeing Snapchats and videos of it all over. And if you don't know what this is, Malik and I made a little video, so check it out.
Yeah, I was down with that.
It is the most pointless thing. TikTok, everyone's raving about it.
It doesn't have, okay, that's just not true. You don't have to do it on TikTok. Most people I've seen do it is on Snapchat. You can do it
But
on
it
your
originated on TikTok. That's the whole thing. Is someone did it on TikTok, and now everyone's like, oh, it's so funny.
You just gotta lock your camera and set it up. And do a good. I think when I first saw it, I thought it was funny because the person makes it seem like there's so much preparation that's about to go into what they're about to do, and then you go, and then you celebrate. You're supposed to celebrate afterwards, like I just accomplished something. I just did something amazing. This nice choreographed dance.
Oh, it took so much work.
Can do it now. It's gone viral. And it's funny. It's always funny to see the next thing that goes viral after this.
Yeah,
Because I never expected that
this would go so far.
I've seen toddlers.
Yeah, my little brother can do this.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
It's an interesting dance.
It's funny. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty funny and random. But now I'm sick of it. It's all I see on Instagram, Snapchat.
I saw one last night where the guy set his phone down in the elevator. The elevator closed. And then he ran down the steps, and when the elevator door opened, he...
Gosh, that seems
that takes preparation,
yeah.
that takes time, and that takes cleverness, wittiness,
Cleverness.
and intelligence.
That's right. All right, well, moving on from this, internships, I got to talk to Steve today. So how do you think his tips and tricks will help you with your summer internship?
I think they should be useful. I mean, I went to him to get some help on this internship that I'm applying for in New York City that I'm still waiting to hear back from. But I think it's also important, the mentor part, to get mentors that are in the field that know what they're doing to help you out. I was able to do that with a good friend of mine, Jackson Kurtz, who's now down in Savannah, Georgia, working as a multimedia journalist. So I think it's important to have these career advisors on campus to help you out, and you obviously should use them, but it's also important to have mentors around who are able to give you advice that are in that business at that moment that can tell you what employers are looking for.
Yeah, that's right. It's an exciting time when people are getting ready for their internships. I'm currently waiting to hear back from one, and I've talked to a station over in Wisconsin, so it's an exciting time to see where we're going to go. We're getting old, which is crazy, but
Well, just send up a prayer for us because
yeah,
we need all of them.
We really do.
For Keely McCormick, I'm Malik Jackson. For this rainy day in Lawrence, Kansas, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you right back here next Thursday at 10 a.m.
Have a great weekend, and be sure to bring those umbrellas out today.